What a podium. Over 300 Grand Prix victories on that podium. Honestly, what a weekend of racing.
That would literally be a Le Mans dream team
Definitely.
right there on the podium.
Definitely.
With even Adrian Newey stood right next to him.
It's the stuff of dreams.
Stuff of dreams. I think what we should start off with first is what an absolute storm of a weekend Williams had.
Definitely.
Especially with Alex Albon as well. I mean, 7th place finish ahead of, Alpines, other people. I forgot who else was behind him. He had the McLarens behind him as well. And he held everyone up. He was like a train, wasn't he? And no one was coming past him. He put his elbows out and he was defending like a lion.
He definitely was.
I mean, that Williams was really quick this weekend.
It was, especially in the straight line. It has been for the last 2 seasons, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And especially commendable that, he kept other people behind him.
Yeah.
Cracking driver.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. They're really good in the straight line, aren't they, Williams? Yeah. We saw the graphic, when you got the two-tone circuit map. And actually, more of the circuit was Albon's colour than Verstappen's colour.
Yeah.
I think, was it Q2 that he was top qualifying?
Yeah, he finished Q2 in first place.
Yeah.
Provisional pole. I mean, that was an absolute stonker. I think that was the first P1 for any qualifying session for Williams since Austria 2016, I think it was, potentially.
Long time.
By Felipe Massa. That's how long it's been. It's been a long time.
Absolutely yonks ago.
Yeah, yonks ago.
Yeah, and what was a great weekend for Williams was a stark contrast for the other driver, Logan Sargent. Right down the bottom, again, he qualified down the bottom and his car broke. So, simple as that. He had to retire and that caused the first virtual safety car.
We don't need to elaborate anymore, really.
So, a great and also terrible weekend for Williams.
Yeah, but valuable points.
Valuable points.
Valuable.
Definitely. Next up, talking of retirements, we've got our British friend, George Russell.
Yeah. What the hell happened? I don't know. It was a bit of a rookie mistake from George, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really sort of rough contact with the wall.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get away with it. Verstappen got away with it.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think he was lucky to get as far as he did, all considering. But I think it was just his brake duct on the back. It was just crumpled in a little bit too much and started to overheat. And you're better off just playing safe and just bringing the car home because obviously if your brakes fail, you're not going to stop.
Yeah,
pure and simple.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense if you ask me.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you're not an engineer or anything, but I'd say.
Oh no, we're not engineers, but I would say it's common sense.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just lack of concentration. Obviously, he caught the sausage curb on the way in, didn't he? He just straightened up the car and he just went flying in.
Yeah.
And, sort of like as he hit the back of the wall, the front of the car sort of spun round back on itself and then the front hit it. And I thought, oh no.
Yeah, it come out of nothing really. Yeah. And I think it was a result of the fact that Russell was trying to keep up with the top three. Hamilton got off to an absolutely lightning start. He was past Alonso like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Verstappen obviously got away first, but he was keeping pace with Verstappen. Alonso was keeping pace with him. And he was slightly dropping back. So whether he'd gone deep into the corner, hadn't he? Whether he was trying that little bit too hard just to keep the pace.
Yeah.
When, like you say, it's a rookie mistake. When you've got that bit of experience, ultimately, you bide your time and you just maintain that pace.
Yeah. And that would have been an absolute brilliant race for Mercedes on points. They would have closed the gap slightly towards Red Bull.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot, but they would have closed it and built more of a gap over Aston Martin. You had Perez, you had Stroll, even out the points for most of the race.
Yeah.
It would have been an absolute brilliant race for Mercedes if George just kept it a little bit clean.
Yeah.
More clean
definitely.
And just brought it home. Even if it was fifth, top five, it still would have been valuable points.
Oh,
I think he would have finished P4.
I think
no doubt.
I think he had the pace. I mean, we'll go on to talk about it a little bit later, but Ferrari looked quick. And for a certain point, I thought, actually, they're going to be challenging Hamilton at this rate.
And I
do think he had the strength to keep that top four.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, Ferrari actually made a very good move on strategy.
Ferrari, good strategy. I mean, heard it here first.
I have seen a few flying pigs. So
Yeah, it must have been the weekend of flying pigs.
Yeah,
because
it must have
Ferrari
been.
did good strategy.
Yeah.
And Williams scored points. So
I'll admit, when they stayed out after the safety car when George had his bit of a shunt, I thought, oh God, here we go. Classic Ferrari. Absolutely.
yeah,
Balls
I
this
thought
up.
they'd absolutely messed it up.
But no, it worked perfectly. They kept on the pace. They kept Perez behind him.
Yeah.
You know, and it was keeping the gap between like Hamilton.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I thought, bloody hell, I'm actually doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not
know.
bad. Yeah.
I was still expecting something to go wrong for him, but
Yeah.
nothing did. Nothing
No,
did.
it's a
They
strong
did
race.
amazing this
Strong
weekend, to be
race.
honest. They did absolutely amazing.
Next, I want to talk about a driver which has been somewhat struggling. It's been 3 races in a row that Checo Perez has now not qualified in Q3. He's not started a race in the top 10 in the last 3 races.
Well, that's 4 races this year now, if you include
Yeah.
Australia as well.
Now, coming into their Red Bull's home race next weekend, or the weekend after, we will definitely be hoping that Perez is going to be up there. Because at the end of the day, Verstappen is romping home.
Yeah.
He's absolutely romping home. He's dominant. Every single weekend, it's effortless for him.
Yeah.
He's just way ahead. So, in all fairness, I mean, we did a video weeks and weeks ago about Perez being a potential challenger to Verstappen, and maybe we've cursed him because ever since then he's done absolutely rubbish. So, it was a decent race. He climbed back to 6th, but it never actually achieved what you would have hoped he would in RB19.
Yeah, it's sort of all gone down a little bit hill for Perez now, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, I do feel like we have cursed him slightly. I'm not taking the blame for it,
No.
but I think us two, and let's face it, quite a few people around the world, I'd say, started to get their hopes up, and we thought, well, actually, Perez might be in with a really good chance here. If not, he's going to be very close to him.
Yeah.
But ever since we said that, he's been nowhere to be seen.
Yeah,
Nowhere to
definitely.
be seen. Nowhere.
And famously, Red Bull aren't very patient with their drivers.
No.
So it remains to be seen how long they want to keep him in that seat for. Because I'll take this cap off now, and if they want me to be that driver, then I'll more than happily throw away my Mercedes cap.
Yeah,
I'll more
to
than
be
happily
honest.
race for Red Bull.
But you can just see Daniel Ricciardo just peering around the corner.
Yeah,
with
his
his little
smile's turning
smile.
up more and more every weekend.
It's coming to him. It
It
really
is.
is. If Perez
It is.
keeps going the way he's currently going, it's going to happen, isn't it?
It is, and I think they're going to win the constructors. So I would argue that along with the Mark Webber situation, or when he retired, they owe it to Perez for all the work he's done to at least keep him until the end of the season.
Yeah, oh, 1,000,000%.
However, you know, they haven't been patient with drivers in the past, and it wouldn't be unlike Red Bull to kick him out before the season finishes.
I don't think that Red Bull would take the risk in that anyway. I mean, they're still top of the championship.
Yeah.
So, and by quite a margin as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's no point kicking him out just yet, or even, well, no, not even kicking him out.
Yeah, there's
until
no
the
point
season's
jumping the
over.
gun.
There's
is
no
there?
point, no,
Yeah.
because you just risk putting a lot of risk on it then.
Yeah, sometimes
you
it's
never
better
know.
the devil, you know, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then when the wind tunnel effect will potentially come in towards the end of the season for Red Bull, and Mercedes and Aston Martin keep improving their cars, and if
Yeah.
they start winning a few races, it could be really costly for them.
Definitely.
Really costly. So there's no point, you know, taking a massive risk on replacing Perez. I mean, I think we're talking way too much into it, replacing
Oh
Perez.
yeah, we're thinking a lot into it.
We're thinking a lot
but-
into it, but it is Red Bull.
Yeah.
You never know. You
it
never
could always
know.
be a possibility.
It could always be a possibility. By Belgium, Daniel Ricciardo would probably replace Perez, which I wouldn't be against.
No,
But I
definitely
do like Checo, but I wouldn't be against that either. But I still think Red Bull do owe it to Perez to at least keep him until the end of the season anyway.
Definitely. I want to build on what you said about upgrades, about the second half of the season, the standings all fall into place, people will get extra wind tunnel time, less wind tunnel time. This weekend has really shown an improvement from Ferrari, Mercedes and Aston Martin.
Yeah.
They've all closed the gap on Red Bull.
Massively.
Now, we're used to, and you'll see in our previous videos, Verstappen being 3 seconds, 4 seconds in front within the second or third lap.
Yeah.
And already we're like, well, essentially the winner of the race is second.
Yeah.
so let's not count that first place position. Let's just count who finishes second.
Yeah.
But they actually somewhat, I mean, not towards the end, admittedly, but they somewhat kept pace with Verstappen this race.
Within 10 seconds for majority of the race.
Yeah, and you consider that in Bahrain, it was, 50 seconds?
It was something like that, yeah.
It was something stupid, and there was like a couple of races that were definitely over 30 seconds from the next car.
Yeah.
And now 10-second gap really shows that they've improved.
Yeah, and another point on that as well. Perez, being in that Red Bull, you would have thought he would have passed both Ferraris, caught up with Alonso and Hamilton, easy. And probably, got on the would get on the podium.
Yeah.
Probably even second, wouldn't
Yeah.
he? As soon as he got up behind those
He didn't pass
Ferraris,
any of them.
that was it. It was done. It was
Yeah.
race over. Which was really surprising.
Yeah, definitely.
Considering it's Ferrari and Red Bull.
And you were expecting the bad strategy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously, if Russell would have, kept it out the wall, then he'd have finished 7th, most likely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, a really, really positive insight for both Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin this race. And I have to say, they put on the show this weekend. They were the real people. The two people in particular, Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso.
It's just like the good old days.
Oh, it was like
days.
just closing your eyes and reappearing in 2007.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Lewis Hamilton and Alonso going wheel to wheel, and they probably still have a little bit of envy with each other.
There's got to be a little bit.
There always seems like a little bit of an atmosphere.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Like, when they did that, they did the press conference afterwards, and Lewis Hamilton was saying, "Oh, we had slow reactions here,and Alonso giving that tap on the back." He was like, "It was a good tap on the shoulder."
I thought that. I thought, ooh, that's going to sting a little bit.
But definitely, they've got. It's obvious that they've got tremendous respect for each other now, and it's absolutely brilliant to watch a combined age of 79, almost 80 years old between the two of them, fighting it out at the top of the grid.
Yeah.
It's not
two
like,
oldest drivers in Formula One.
Yeah.
On the podium, fighting their absolute backsides off.
Yeah. And it's not like 2014. Was it 2014 at Silverstone when Red Bull, Vettel, and Alonso at Ferrari were fighting it out?
Yeah.
And they were fighting it out for like the lower points places.
Yeah.
Like, they're fighting at the top of the table. They're fighting for podiums and second places.
Yeah.
It would have been astonishing had they been fighting for a win.
It just proves that age is just a number, and that Fernando Alonso is Peter Pan. He'll never grow up.
He'll never grow up.
He'll never grow up.
He still is bitter about 2007.
Yeah, exactly. Maturity hasn't quite kicked in just yet.
Definitely. Yeah, and other noticeable parts of the race, you had it was the Haas and the AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
They both went into turn 3 and then forgot to turn.
Yeah.
So they both went into a cul-de-sac and they're like, "No, after you. And I bet the AlphaTauri was like, "For God's sake, Magnussen, get it in reverse, for crying out loud."
I thought it was just going to be like Kvyat and Ricciardo back here in
I could see that
2019 again.
I could see that happening.
Like Ricciardo just reversing back into him. I was waiting for it to happen. It was replaying in my head, but no. Thankfully, they both got out of it all right.
Yeah, they just escaped the safety car, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just managed to get the cars moving.
Yeah.
But that was quite funny, actually, in all fairness.
You got to have little incidents
like
that.
And there was good little battles all over.
Yeah.
All over the grid throughout the whole race. It was a thoroughly entertaining race, I thought.
Yeah.
Which we've really missed Canada.
Yeah.
In those couple of years that we didn't have it, because it's one of the best tracks in the season.
I think regardless of what year it is, what cars, what the weather's like, anything, Canada always chucks up a good race.
Yeah.
Always
definitely.
does, hands down. It's one of those races, you're going to get a good race.
Yeah.
Facts.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's always been drama. There's always been crashes.
Yeah.
We've
There's
had that
always
definitely.
something.
So, we'll quickly revert back to Ferrari. Good strategy.
Yes.
Fantastic race for Ferrari. They started 10th and 11th.
Yeah.
And from last season's Ferrari, well, at least for the first half, they were challenging for a title.
Yeah.
Now, they've dropped completely off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
They've completely disappeared. They've come back. They've come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And they fired right through the grid, and it was a well-deserved 4th and 5th.
1,000,000%.
Well-deserved
1,000,000%.
4th and 5th.
On pace. Brilliant strategy, which we all probably thought, oh no, that's not a good idea. but it was an amazing idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my hat off
They
to them.
took the risk with the strategy,
Yeah.
and ultimately, their reputation for strategy can't get any worse at the moment, can it?
No.
So they might as well try
Might
a
as
few
well
things.
try
experiment.
something, yeah.
And it was a really, really, really strong race. So we'll finish it off by going 100 race wins for Red Bull.
What an
Formula One
achievement.
team. What an achievement.
That is a massive achievement.
So not many teams have achieved that. 100 race wins is absolutely astonishing.
Still not as many as Lewis Hamilton.
It's still not as many as Lewis Hamilton.
But I reckon that would probably be...
In 3 race times, I reckon they're going to equal it.
No, because you don't want it to happen at Silverstone. After that, then it will happen.
No, they'll be on 102 after Silverstone. So it won't happen at Silverstone.
Yes.
So we'll at least escape that embarrassment. But, but yeah, absolutely phenomenal achievement from Red Bull. Well deserved. And Adrian Newey has developed that car to absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And I can see it just absolutely skyrocketing that number.
There's not one flaw with that car.
Definitely.
Nothing.
And I mean, I saw something today that Lewis Hamilton was saying that they'd probably give up on this year's car already. It's that far in front. They might as well start developing next year's for
I
a
won't
week.
blame them either.
Exactly.
What's the point?
So, I mean, Lewis Hamilton was also talking about, well, we might as well start developing next year's as well.
Yeah.
To really sort of not fall back.
Because I don't think Mercedes' fight isn't this year, is it?
No. Unfortunately, it was another year of working things out. And they seem to have found a solution. They've changed the side pods. And they're on the right track. They're not going down a dead-end street anymore. Yeah, so on that note, that wraps it up, doesn't it? So, thank you for watching. That has been the review of the Canadian Grand Prix, and we have been Yo-Yo F1. Try a bit.